Welcome to Race Stars TV for the Roadster Rumble round number 4 tonight we're at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve for this fantastic Simworx Race Simulators event. And a big thanks to them for getting on board and being the major partner for this Roadster Rumble series. We've got some great partners on board as well for the round sponsors, and we'll go through that shortly. But all the cars are out on the track. Let's head down here for qualifying. It is lone qualifying. My name's Luke. I'll be taking you through the broadcast tonight. And hopefully you're doing well out there. G'day and welcome to Taipan Events as well. If you're over watching on YouTube tonight, but hello on Facebook. Thanks Graham for the stars and a welcome early on into this broadcast. Thanks man. Let's go to qualifying. We've got about 7 minutes to go. And we'll get the times up on the screen shortly when some times are set. Steve McMahon, one of the drivers out there, about to set his first time. Let's turn the music down and crank these cars up. And, well, this will be a tricky little circuit to get these MX-5s around. Don't forget we've got the 3 different classes again tonight with this series. An absolute highlight. One of the aspects I love about the Roadster Rumble is the fact that we do have the obviously the Group A, which is the blue bannered cars using the Global Cup car, and then you've got Group B, the Legacy 2010 Cup car, and then Group C in the green, that's the Legacy Roadster. So there's one of the Group C cars, Michael Nancaro. So you can see the different shape of the car. Much older version of the MX-5. But all MX-5s tonight will keep the class leaders up the top as well. And you'll see some of those times start to pop up shortly. There's Lucas Stassi just going down through the chicane. They'll take a lot of curb in these MX-5s tonight. Really beat up against the curves. Try and keep as much momentum as possible. Mitch Dean about to start what will be his first flying lap. In fact, coming to the line now, I think about to post a time. He's just done his first out lap, so time going up on the screen. Let's hope. There it is. So Hobson's gone to the top with a 154.6, a 155.8 then for Oliver, and Schreier puts himself into P2. It is lone qualifying, so you don't see more than one car out on the track at a time, as Jack Boyd now goes to the top of the times in the Boyd Racing MX-5. But what this means is that it gives everyone a fair opportunity without any obstruction at all to try and get themselves the most ultimate lap time and put themselves in the grid positioning that they well deserve. So Damien Cigar goes up into 3rd place now. Wayne Losh goes through into 6th place. We'll just pick up a few drivers finishing their laps, and we will also throw it into qualifying mode, which just shows some sector times down the bottom. As you can see right now, Picken is on a pretty quick lap, and we've got a new driver tonight as well. Jamie Willett's coming in for the first time for this series. He joins Group C, and in fact no, he is, yes, Group B for Willett. So he'll be joining Group B tonight, and let's see what he can do up against these competitors that have been racing week in, week out. There is Jeremy Pickens, one of the Group C drivers. He was on some good sectors. We'll keep an eye on that time as it progresses through the lap. And another driver, of course, is Greg Holmes, who's just crossing the line now. And where does he end up in class? He goes up into 24th outright, sitting well within the Class B drivers. So you see a bit of dancing, I reckon, from the tail ends of these cars tonight around this circuit. It's Jack Boyd leading Hobson at the moment. He's going quicker again. Keep an eye on these times. Hobson hasn't been able to go well through the mid-sector there. He's gone yellow, which means it's slower than his best time. He did do a green first sector, but no purple to be seen just yet. And wow, he's aggressive across the curves. There is Jack Boyd, the run to the line. Straight line down the right-hand side of the track, getting the quickest run you can to the beam, and he crosses now. Does he improve that time? A 54.4 goes to a 54.1, so he knocks another 3/10 off that time, which gives him an advantage of just over 2.5 tenths on Hobbo. Sonny Canchan's gone into 3rd at the moment, with Damien Seeger in 4th. Aaron Oliver goes 5th, and then it's Moz Moroz up in the 6th place now. Mitch Dean has stopped on the racetrack. I think Schreier has as well. And Lucas Stassi out there in 13th place. Currently the top 15 drivers, all Class A drivers. Hey Spike, nice to have you watching, man. Hopefully you're doing well with your COVID. As I continue to cough my way through these broadcasts, it's I'll tell you what, it is not going away, this COVID chest. So thanks for your patience tonight. as we get back into a pretty busy schedule of broadcasts this week. Tomorrow night, F3A, silver and gold. And busy times ahead. Nick Wood's gone P4. Not a bad time as well. So within 7 tenths, just under 8 tenths in fact, from the top time. And let's just go down to a couple of the Group C drivers. Here's one of them, Andrew Roberts. Out on a lap, currently 37th, so it's a big grid of cars again tonight, well over 45 cars. What's your favourite thing about Canada? There's a little question from Spike Goddard for people out there and myself as well to probably answer throughout the broadcast tonight. So always welcome a good question. What's my favourite thing about Canada, or this circuit in particular? It's always been a good F1 track, I reckon. That's where I love watching F1 around here. But as far as a driver's circuit, I think it's got a bit of everything. The fast chicanes, it's got some very tricky corners. Turn 1 in particular, where it tightens up on itself and then hooks around. That can be quite hard to get perfectly right. Turn 3 and 4, the chicane, and then turn 5, especially in when you're trying to carry as much speed as you can through turn 5. That sweeping right-hander, that can be quite difficult to the braking zone at turn 6, which backs around on itself probably a little bit more than 90 degrees turn 6, and easy to get that wrong as well. The turn 8-9 chicane into the hairpin, of course, at turn 10, and then who could dismiss the Wall of Champions as one of the coolest corners, and one of the corners with a lot of history for sure. Some good drivers have hit that fence, and I think we see that again tonight. Spike loves a good beaver, so that's why he likes going to Canada. Fair enough. Good beaver. Excellent. And Jesse White Carriage at the moment, 31st place. They're all smiling, these MX-5s. That's one of the characteristics of an MX-5. A nice little smiley face at the front. Having a great time out there. 31st place at the moment, 7.8 seconds off the pace for the Group B competitor. And the top time, Kyle Ridley at the moment for Group B, is well up there, crossing the line now, and does improve. So goes to 24th outright. Andrew Dyson at the moment, the bottom of the Group A drivers. And as I said, Ridley has done the quickest time with a 1 minute 59.3. So you can see it is about a 5-second buffer to the leaders. The difference in the lap speed tonight for these cars. Once again, just to remind you, Group A, the blue cars tonight, will be the Global Cup car. Group B, Legacy 2010 Cup car. And then Group C, the Legacy Roadster. So 3 different makes of MX-5s ready to do battle right here at Canada. So Heat 1, number 1 for the night, Jack Boyd gets pole position alongside Brenton Hobson. Sonny Cantor will start off the second row with Nick Wood for company. Then it's Seeger and Oliver, Losh and Moroz down there in 8th place, Boyd and Dean rounding out your top 10, McMahon and Schrader, your top 12, all Group A competitors. As we head down further, we can see it's Ashley Norman and Owen Coleman, Stassi and Smith, and Dyson and Ridley. Ridley is the top of the Group B drivers there from 18th place. Mark Foster from 19th with Canto in 20th place. Then it's Connor Svensson, Ergman and White Carriage down in 24th place, 25th on the grid tonight. Paradiso, followed by the first of the Group C drivers. Then it's Jeremy Picken in 26th outright, but top of the class Group C. Ann Cuthbertson starts from 27th with Jamie Willis. It's brand new on debut tonight, starting from 28th on the grid. Graham Ellis tonight starts from 29th. Great supporter of the channel. Thanks, Graham, and good luck in your racing tonight. Starts alongside Greg Holmes out of 30th place. Then it's another Group C competitor, Andrew Pears, 31st, with Dave Gogol out of 32nd. Thorne out of 33rd with Walker, Rodkin and Linus at the back there in 36th place on the grid. 37th will be St John with Dan Caro, Roberts, Dutch, Harrison and Bright down there in 42. So 42 competitors. Jonathan Hancock tonight in race control, watching over proceedings, making sure everyone's well behaved, and great to have them on board as well. So we stage up now for a rolling start behind the Porsche safety car. There's a look back from Jack Boyd's Boyd racing car. And Glenn Boyd back in 9th place as well. Can we get 2 Boyds in the top 5 tonight? That will be interesting. There's a look down alongside the rowing area here at Canada. picturesque venue, that's for sure, alongside the water. Always a great place to go racing. And 42 MX-5s in 3 different classes getting set to do battle. They will roll away, then we go straight into this first heat race. 6 laps in heat number 1. And then, of course, at the end of the night, we have, after the 2 heats, we have that one big finale, which is always a lot of fun. And they all get out there together and get busy. It's great. So Jack Boyd leads us away. Will Hobson try and assert some dominance early on in this race? We'll have to wait and see. So they'll just come through now. The final chicane. The safety car will go into the pit lane. And then as soon as iRacing gives the get-go, the word green, they can get underway. We wait for that now. Quite often a bit of a hold, and then you'll hear the little MX-5s buzz into action. And here they go, folks. They've split the classes up again tonight, which is fantastic. So the Group A's get away with a bit of a gap. Back to Group B. The run down to turn 1, crucial. Boyd's in front. By a car length, they slot into place. Kanchan gets into third, into the back of Hobson as well. So a little bit of contact, nose to tail. You can hear it as they concertina together. Kyle Ridley leads the Group B into turn 1, just ahead of Foster and Canto. And then as we look back to Group C, Jeremy Pickens already made up a spot up in the 25th place. And he gets off on his way. So good start for a few of those drivers back in the field. Up front though, Boyd leads Hobson and Kanchan, and Boyd really getting the hurry up in this early exchange through the left-hand chicane now. Hobson, there's no need to save fuel in these heat races. In fact, they're 5-lap heat races tonight. So it's wham bam, thank you ma'am, this one. So Jack Boyd leads. Bit of sideways action there from Hobson as he got off the chicane. Now the important run down to the turn 10 hairpin. This is where getting your braking zone is 100% crucial on the opening lap, especially with cold tyres. And Kanchan, who went into the back, he did a little bit of damage to the front of his car. He's also done a bit of damage to the back of Hobson's car in that opening lap exchange. But nice run now for the first time. We'll see them start to dance left and right on the racetrack, trying to break the toe from their competitors. Boyd out in front, looking pretty though. There's the long shot down this back straightaway. Now towards the Wall of Champions we go for the first time. And they come into this shot. Hobson's having a look. He's just dicing around there, having a go, but no. For now, holds position. They smash across the curbs there. You can see the way they really aggressively take to the curbs there. Simon Joel Smith goes wheel to wheel with McMahon. And then look at the run here from Stassi. He says, right, you guys are going to go wheel to wheel. I'm going to go around both of you. We've got 4 wide almost as we head down the pit straight away. Stassi's going to go straight up into 14th place now. Keith Logan with the stars. Thanks, Keith. And welcome again tonight, man, as we hit some MX-5 action over on Taipan Events and, of course, on Race Stars TV Facebook page. Jack Boyd drifts his way right up against the barrier once again. There's so much commitment on this second lap of the race. And Boyd leads Hobson and Kanchan. The top 3 still hold position. 5th place, the first of the drivers that has made up a spot, Aaron Oliver, up into 5th, with Roche in 6th place, up 1 as well. Class leaders are up the top of the screen right now, with Ridley still holding out Class B, and Picken, who's been super quick. There he is, sideways again. Jeremy Picken, 26th outright and top of Group C at the moment. You can tell the different note from the exhaust pipes when you go back to these old cars as well, the older MX-5s. Keith with a 33-week streak. Thanks, man. Can't even imagine 33 weeks at the moment. I know it's been a crazy couple of weeks here. Half a lung popping out with COVID. Slowly getting myself back to normal, but you can still hear in my voice, no doubt, that I'm pretty unwell. But the sim racing must go on. We love it, and I've got a duty here to the drivers because they're so good. The series organisers put this together. The drivers rock up each week, and they deserve the best I can give. As we see now, McMahon and Stassi still interlocked. In the back of them, you can see Andrew Dyson. We'll get a good view of this little exchange up the front, and we'll jump on board with him now, right on the dash. And look into the braking zone. Stassi, oh, he goes to the inside. Nice job. Dyson will get a great run through here. Might even pick off one of these competitors, and he does. So he gets a nice run there on McMahon and moves himself now up into 15th place. So Dyson up 2 spots now in the race, up into the top 15. And decent little overtake. You could almost see that unfolding before his eyes, and got a great momentum run through the Wall of Champions. We've got a slow car there. That's Ellis just coming out of the pits, I think. So Graham Ellis there just getting himself back up to speed. He's lost 12 positions, unfortunately, in the race tonight. Had a little bit of a crash on the previous lap. Boyd still leads out in front. Hobson's still hounding the back end. Good hard racing. Let's go through the class battles right now. We'll actually compress it on the screen for you. So we go back to, obviously this is the battle for Class A at the front on lap 3 of 5. We'll go back to the battle for Class B as we head back here, and I can tell you right now that this is how the battle stands. So it's Ridley, Connors and Canto. Your top 3, Foster, Fenson and Eggman in 6th place at the moment, as we compress that left-hand side of the screen down a little bit for you. Now we go back, and Cuthbertson's in fact got in front now of Jeremy Picken, and this, oh, was that an engine exploding? It sounded like it, didn't it, for Ann Cuthbertson? I think that has just expired, and that's unfortunate because he was doing so well ahead of Jeremy Pickens in class, but that's just blown up, and that'll be the end of his race, sadly, for the Group C leader. So Picken inherits that lead of Group C once again. And was it a big downshift? It looked like a big downshift. And that engine has let go. Jack Boyd back to the front now. Look at this battle. Hobson running out of laps. We're on lap 4 or 5, so the penultimate lap. They'll get 1 to go after this one, and Hobson needs to make his move. He hasn't been able to get even probably alongside just yet. Jack Boyd carrying so much speed on board now with Hobbo. Synergy Sim Racing. Let's jump into Visorcam and ride the lightning on board with him. Here it is. So he's got a good tow now under the bridge, waiting to get the braking zone exactly right. Ride the curb. Sideways again for Boyd. So he's really flicking that MX-5 around. Under the bridge once again, all the while Sonny Canchin in the mirrors. Hobson's got to be well aware of that as well. Make sure he doesn't lose out this position. And you can see how close Sonny is now. He gets a good exit out onto the back straightaway, and this could be his first chance to maybe sneak up into the top 2, Sonny, as he'll get a great run. A double slipstream right now behind Boyd and Hobson. Not close enough though. You can see Hobbo's close enough. He's about to have a look. Will he dive down the inside this time? He does. He'll release the brake and try and make this move happen. So there you go. Sonny will try and capitalise as well. So Hobbo up into the lead of the race now. And that puts Boyd back to 2nd. Canchin still 3rd. But with a lap to go, he's made his move. Brenton Hobson leads this race. 1 to go. And, well, can he start to stretch away now? Or can Jack Boyd come back at him? It's a nice overtake there. He got good car position into the chicane. Was able just to release the brake, do what he had to do to send it down the inside. So great job. Aaron Oliver still 1 place up into 5th. We've got a spinner, I think. Glenn Boyd goes through there on Seeger, who's got a lot of damage to the back end of that car. It's seen better days, and now Losh, I think, is also in trouble. He's in the fence and ejects back to the pits. So he's had a bit of strife on that last lap too. Boyd, Hobson and Canchin, 4/10 cover the top 3. Incredibly close between them. Boyd got back in front, so he managed to pass Hobson. Now Hobson tries to find a way through. Lap car there as well, making it all a little bit interesting. It's a progressive grid, so where you finish race 1, you start race 2. Important to get that progression along, especially if you've had a bad qualifying tonight. But Jack Boyd has just stretched it out by a couple of car lengths now into this final hairpin. Hobbo not close enough to have a look just yet, but he's got a great turn in there. Hobbo, the front end of that MX-5, working perfectly on the turn in. Now we get another slipstream chance down this straightaway, and this is where he got him on the previous lap. Will this time Jack Boyd maybe go defensive and try and block that inside line into the final chicane? You can see he's doing just that. He's going to make Hobbo go the long way around the outside. And Hobbo, will he have enough legs to sweep across the nose here of Boyd? I think he will. He does. Wowee. So Hobbo goes through into the lead of the race. He should take the checker flag from there. There's the run to the line. And, well, it's going to be Hobbo who wins that one. And he wins it by a car length over Boyd and Canton, your top three. Great finish. We look back further. It's Wood coming in fourth with Oliver and Glenn Boyd getting a sixth tonight. Then we go right back. Seeger, Norman, Coleman, Dean crossing the line in 10th place. We're going back now to the Group B finale, and Kyle Ridley looks like he's got an easy win here, about 3.5 seconds. He'll win this one for Group B over Anthony Connors. So he crashes across that final chicane for the final time, and Kyle Ridley takes the checker flag for Group B. A great job. We look back further, and the gap back to the Group C leader, Jeremy Pickens, is a fair way. He's going to come through here. He's just ahead of Greg Holmes for outright position, but 24th outright here for Jeremy Pickens, and he wins Class C. Great effort tonight by him as well. Smoking car crossing the line there. That's Glenn Ellis. He's had a little bit of engine failure there by the looks of things, and he smokes to a halt right next to our garage there. So good racing. That was race number one. We're going to go through straight to heat number two shortly. Another 5-lapper coming up in about a minute's time. Go through the race results for you right now for heat number one for this evening, and another 5-lap dash coming up shortly. But looks like Brenton Hobson's been awarded the win there, and he got it by just over a tenth of a second. He was so quick through that final lap, wasn't he, to get around the outside into the final chicane of Jack Boyd and hit him at the post. So just under 2 tenths there, the win there. Hobson to Boyd and Canton P3 within 5 tenths. Nice close racing. We look down the order further to our Group B. It was Ridley, Connors, and the top three of those competitors was Connors and then Jesse White-Cattridge getting the top three. And then it was Jeremy Pickens, Andrew Pears, and further down for Group C, Bard Rodkin getting himself third in class, 29th outright for Group C in race number one. Right, let's go to the grid for heat number two. This is how this will kick off. And it will be Hobson from pole position, ahead of Jack Boyd. Sonny Canton will start on the second row with Nick Wood, Aaron Oliver, and Glenn Boyd from sixth. So he's progressed up 3 positions in the order now with a great result in race one. Damien Seeger, and then Norman, Coleman, and Dean, your top 10. Moroz and Schreier, your top 12. Going back to 13th is Dyson, Stassi, McMahon, and Smith. Ridley, Connors, Foster, White-Cattridge, Willits, Barosito, and then Dutch and Pick in your top 24 as we go through the order very quickly here. It's Holmes, Benson, Gugol, and Pears in top 28. Rodkin, Linus, Canto, and Nancaro in 32nd place on the grid. Then it's Roberts, Losh, Thorne, and Gary Bright in 36th place. 37th on the grid tonight goes to Ant Culberson with St John, Ellis, Eggman, Walker, and Harrison getting set to do battle. Let's get rid of the music. Let's get set to go racing. Once again, Hobson will lead us away, and can he get a good start here and try and dominate from the front, because Jack Boyd was so quick in race number one. And well, wait for the noise. Here they go. So straight away, Aaron Oliver, I think, challenging on the outside. They run down towards turn 1 on the grass, rallycross style. That was a little bit scary, and they all get through, I think, without incident. But wow, Boyd's got to the lead of this race, and he has pipped out. Hobbo will have the inside run now down to 3. So perfect getaway for Jack Boyd once again. Hobbo's coming back at him on the outside though, and he won't be able to get through there. Kanchan just jostling here with Nick Wood over that 3rd position. We look back further to Boyd and Dean Coleman and Schreier. Schreier still holds on to 11th. He's up 1 position. Wayne Losh here made up 18 spots at the start, obviously being put back in his class has helped with that little gain on the scoreboard. Aaron Oliver has gone around, he's facing the wrong way, and that is not good as the Group B drivers come into shot, and it's Kyle Ridley leading Group B. Goes around the outside of Oliver. Foster still holding on to 2nd. Jesse White Carriage in Lennox Paradiso, and Willits on debut. 21st place outright now. Holds position. Back at the front, Boyd Kanchan now. Hobson goes back to 3rd place. As the battle for Group C, it's still Jeremy Pickett out in front, and he's battling here with Aaron Oliver, and then Greg Holmes is in the mix as well. Let's jump on board with Greg. Smoke up ahead. That is a car facing the wrong way. Anthony Connors, I think it was. No, it was Owen Coleman, I think, who's gone around at the 2nd chicane. He faced, well, back towards the pits, and that's not ideal as Greg Holmes goes into this braking zone trying to chase down Class C driver Pickens. Up the top of the screen now you can see who's leading the class. It's still Boyd leading outright, but he's wheel to wheel here with Kanchan, and Kanchan all out of control. He's sideways up on 2 wheels, sideways into the wall of champions as well. He'll lose a lot of momentum there, and he may have damage on the car. Hobson's gone through now. So Hobbo goes up into 2nd, Nick Wood up into 3rd, Kanchan goes back to 4th, and let's have a look. What sort of damage did that hit on the fence do? Good battle back in 19th outright in Group B. It's heating up between these drivers. Aaron Oliver's back there as well with Andrew Dutch. Fenson also in there. We've got a car in the fence. It's Boyd, and it's Glenn Boyd. So he's gone into the wall. I think another car involved in that too. And was it Gary Bright? No, it wasn't. Let's have a look at that incident. Quick replay. He's just going to get loose, very sideways. The back end keeps going and he can't control it. And then he'll kiss the barrier like that, bang. And that's why Glenn Boyd has dropped all the way down now to 15th outright. So back at the front with Jack leading by 7/10 of a second. The gap back to Hobson. Growing a little bit. The last lap was a 2:02.3 for Boyd with a 2:03.3 for Hobson. So he's showing a bit of dominance now in the 2nd heat of the night, while Lucas Stassi battles with Ashley Norman, and that's as close as you want to get. Right out to the fence. Oh, that was close. And here's the run down this big long straightaway, and I tell you what, Wayne Losh, he wants a bit of this action. Let's jump on board with him. They're actually pushing each other here, a bit of bump drafting, but it's not working to their advantage. Look at Losh, even with the bump draft, he says, see you later. And that is incredible. There's a bit of damage on, I think, Stassi's car and also on Norman's car as well. And that's probably equating to the slow straight line speed. The car in the pit lane on fire. And that's Jeremy Pickens, so he's in all sorts of trouble. And that car is sending a big smoke cloud up over the whole racetrack, unfortunately. And unfortunate news there for Jeremy Pickens, who's had a pretty good night so far tonight. Mitch Dean, the fastest driver out on the racetrack now with a 154.8 last time around. He's got a very fast Damien behind, and also Michael Schreier, who's made up 5 spots in this 2nd heat race. Remember, as I said earlier, they progress in the grid position, so if you can get yourself up a few spots in Heat 2, you'll start the feature in a good position tonight as well. So we're looking at Jamie Willits on debut. Like I said earlier tonight, he's just joined this series, first time racing against anyone in the Roadster Rumble, and doing a nice job. Moves now up into P3 for class, so outright 19th, third in class, and it's a decent effort on debut, isn't it? Sonny Canchin has a heap of cars now starting to bank up behind Mitch Dean, Damien Seeger, and also Schreier on the back of this little battle pack, trying to get through. Quite a bit of bumping and grinding down through the final couple of corners there. You can see Andrew Dyson really working the steering wheel, and all those cars there showing signs of contact, nose to tail. The engine especially, look at that front end now pushed right in on the right hand side in particular, and Dyson looking pretty menacing in the last lap. We've still got one more lap to go after this. Out in front, Boyd and Hobson are still, well, they need their little duo, these two, aren't they? The Boyd and Hobson show at the front. They've broken away by about 2.5 seconds from Nick Wood in P3. So Wood will get some good series points here, but I don't think he's going to get anywhere near these two at the front. And at the moment, it's one up for Hobson in race one. Can Jack Boyd try and hold this one out, not get mugged like he did on the last lap, last time out? So as we head down back straight for the penultimate time, it's Boyd with Hobbo. I reckon he's going to be happy to follow Hobbo, and he may try and do exactly what he did in race one at the end of the next lap. So he's having a little bit of a look there, but then he just holds station, and he's playing the mind games here. Brenton Hobson, he's a wily character. He's been doing this for a while. He knows what he's doing out there, and it's going to be on between them once again on the final lap of this race as Dean Schreier and Seeger really close together. The white flag dropped from board with Michael Schreier for Synergy Sim Racing. He's going to get alongside Mitch Dean and try and move himself up into P4, so that'll give himself a great starting position for the feature if he can go to fourth. He's not going to push for the overtake just yet though, and be careful, there's some hungry competitors behind as Dyson once again makes a little bit of contact with Canchin. Both these drivers have been at it since the get-go. Group B still being led by Kyle Ridley, not a lot in it. Back to, well, it's 4.8 seconds back to Paradiso, so there is a lot in it. And Pears into the fence. That's not good. He'll go to the pit lane and retire that car. So plenty of damage for Andrew Pears. And sadly for him, that was, I think, from the lead of Group C. So it's now Linus who will go into the lead of Group C. He's got a gap of about 2.6 seconds back to the next Group C competitor, so he should hold on for a win there with one to go. Let's go back and watch our top two drivers though, completing this final lap of race number 2 tonight. And it is Jack Boyd just in front, but this is basically what we saw in race 1, down to a T. Hobbo gets a great exit out of here, and he'll try and go to the outside of Boyd. Now last time Boyd parked on the right hand side of the track instantly. About now he goes to the right, and he tries to block. Will he do it again? And will Hobson have to go the long way and do it successfully like he did last time around? This time Boyd moves over a bit, tries to block his path. Hobson goes to the outside. Is he far enough around this time to have another go? We're going to find out in a sec. No, Boyd holds him off. Good job, Boyd. They make a little bit of contact. Hobbo leans on the back fender of Jack Boyd, but he's going to hang on for a win in race 2. So Jack Boyd, good gamesmanship there and good racecraft. He takes the win, so it's one each. Jack gets one. Hobson gets one in the earlier race, so good racing. Damien Seeger's been spun around on the final lap as well, so you can hear him calling out to race control, and he's not too happy with that. Nick Wood gets a P3. Mitch Dean gets 4th, well done. Schreier into 5th. And Simworx 6th, Losh 7th, Kanchan all the way back in 8th place, lost 5 spots in that race. Simon Joel Smith got 9th, and Ashley Norman rounded out your top 10 in race number 2. Top of class is Kyle Ridley, who gets a win in Group B tonight. And it's 5 seconds all the way back to Philip, who gets P2 in class. Jamie Willits on debut tonight gets P3 in class for Group B. We go all the way back to Darren Linus, who's just coming through the final chicane now to take the win in Group C. And he does that about a second up the road from Anth Cuthbertson. So good racing. We've got 1 to go. We'll be back with you in about 30 seconds. We'll go you through the results and then get set for the big one. There's your race results up on the screen, and let's go through just Group A to start with, and you can see that's how it ended up. It was Boyd, Hobson and Wood, followed by Mitch Dean, Michael Schreier, then it was Moz Moroz in 6th place, Losh, Kanchan and Smith with Norman rounding out your top 10 in class Group B. How they ended up for the second race tonight was Ridley, Paradiso and Willits, your top 3. And Greg Holmes finishing there in 5th as well, fenced it up into 8th place, a couple of drivers making some good gains. And then the Group C competitors for the second race tonight was Linus from Cuthbertson and Rodkin, your top 3. You've got a feel for Jeremy Pickin down there in 8th, probably deserved a bit better position than that. And Andrew Pears in 4th did a good job too, but a long way back. You can see 24 seconds is the spread from 1st to 4th in Group C. Short warm-up session now before we go into the race. So we'll have a look at the overhead shot here of this fantastic race circuit, and well, how good is it? Picturesque circuit, Gilles Villeneuve, and of course here in Canada, this 13-turn circuit used for the Formula 1 race each year, and one of the most spectacular racetracks you'll ever get to visit. A lot of technical sections. Gives a bit of a street circuit feel, whilst also having that fixed circuit capacity. Of course, it's a Grade 1 FIA circuit in the city of Montreal, and it opened back in 1978. And well, it's held the Canadian Formula 1 Grand Prix from 1978 through to 2008, then 2010 to 2019. It had a couple of years off, and when it came back in 2022, this year we'll be visiting this place again, which is fantastic. A couple of competitors just heading out onto the racetrack now to do a little bit of warm-up. Let's enjoy a bit of sound up. As you can tell, there's very different engine notes between the three classes of cars here tonight. And if you're just joining us, we'll go through those classes once more before the final race tonight with about a minute to go. until we get that underway. But Group A tonight is the Global Cup car. We'll try and get one of those up on the screen. Well, Brenton Hobson showing a good example of the Global Cup car, the most modern MX-5 on iRacing. Group B, there's Dylan Canto in the Group B Legacy 2010 Cup car. And then, of course, we've got a Group C. I see there's no one out on the racetrack now for Group C. But they are using the Legacy Roadster, so the oldest of the MX-5s on iRacing. 50 seconds to go, then we'll get underway for this feature race. Right, so we get ready to go to the grid now. Rolling start for the feature race tonight. We'll put on the Race Stars theme song and let's call through all the competitors we have tonight. All 42 of them. Let's hope they're going to get out there and complete the feature, because this is where it gets a little bit crazy. And I love it. They put them all together and we go for the big session. Right, here it is. Race Stars theme song. Let's go through the grid now, and it will be off the front row. Jack Boyd and Brenton Hobson. They've been at each other all night tonight. They're going to do it again for this feature race. Nick Wood starts from third with Mitch Dean alongside. Then it's Schreier and Moroz, your top 6. Losh, Canchin, Joel Smith and Norman running at your top 10 for Chicken Up Racing. Glenn Boyd starts from 11th tonight with Lucas Stasi out of 12th place on the grid. Back on to the next row, 7th row, it's Dyson and McMahon, followed by Seeger and Oliver. Then we've got Group B. Kyle Ridley will lead us away next to Philip Paradiso out of 18th place. Willis and Jesse White Carriagey starts from 20th. Greg Holmes stays from 21st with Dylan Canto, and Anthony Connors down there with Henry Fenson, the top 24. 25th on the grid will be Google with Eggman. Then it's Linus, Cuthbertson, Foster and Thorne. Rodkin and Ellis starts from 32nd on the grid, and that's it. We've got 32 competitors left for tonight. So it looks like a few of them have decided to call it a night. Unfortunately, one could be competing in the final race for this evening. So there we go. We've got 32 left out of the 42 that started the evening, and Jack Boyd leads us away. So once again, they put a little bit of distance between the classes. You can see Group B just holding back, whilst Jack Boyd goes alongside with Hobson, and we go for a green light getaway. Here it is. Our final race of the evening, the Porsche safety cars in the pits, and it is green and set to go for the final race of the night, and it is the Roadster Rumble thanks to Simworx Race Simulators. 14 laps on the board. Let's get racing here at Canada. Good start up the front, Jack Boyd, but Hobson equally to the measure goes around the outside. Now he holds on the inside line and should be able to make that stick. Pushes Boyd to the outside. In the background, Wood dicing here with Dean and Schreier as well. Schreier needs to make sure he stays in touch with this lead pack. Boyd heads in now to the chicane. Hobson on his tail, back in Group B. It's once again Kyle Ridley just walking away from the field, isn't it? He makes it look so easy on the opening lap. He's already put 1.5 seconds between himself and the next Group B competitor. And Anth Cuthbertson currently has a huge gap all the way back to Linus for Group C, so great getaway for him as well. Moroz in the fans, big crash on this, opening lap of the race. Not what he needed tonight, and will drop outside the top 15 with that little bit of carnage. I wonder if there was another car involved in that one. Let's have a quick look at a replay. Here it is. Just lost the back end, cold tyres, so easy to do. Around she goes, into the fence, took a lot of paint with it. And that's why Moz, unfortunately, will drop all the way back in the order. Back to live, and you're currently looking at your race leaders. There's 4 of them, a little bit of a breakaway starting to form, and Sonny Canchin just getting left in the dust at the moment, back in 5th place. He has made up 3 spots. He needs to try and get onto the back of Mitch Dean as soon as possible. Jack Boyd going defensive. No, he's not. He's happy just to race it out at this stage with Brenton Hobson on the opening lap of this 14-lap race. Graham Ellis has made up 2 spots at the start, back in the rear of the field, so good job just picking off Rodkin. Oh dear, was that a motor? It was. So Ellis, it's gone from bad to worse, unfortunately. He's just put the comment up in Facebook prior to the race, I'm having a shocker. Well, that was a motor we just saw let go, so that's sad news for Graham tonight, and he'll pull that car into the pits and, well, hopefully get out for a few more laps, but by the time it's repaired, it's going to be probably a third of the way through this race. So wow, tough luck when it rains it pours here, and Boyd still holds a 0.2 of a second margin. You can see they're very uniform in the classes. It's top 15 all Group A. Ridley at the moment trying to get up onto the back here of Moz, see if he can get himself amongst the blue drivers, the top class of drivers here tonight. Albo has a look. First time he's shown the nose in this feature race tonight, and he goes down the inside, which then becomes the outside. So through the kink, he's on the inside, then the outside for the hairpin. Will he try for a switchback here? Let's jump on board with him. It's very wide. He's left the door open for Nick Wood there as well, who's just, I think, behind. You see Nick Wood trying to get a slipstream. He gets alongside Boyd now as they head down the back straightaway. So Hobbo in the lead of the race by just on probably a nose length at the moment. Will Boyd try and stay on the inside? Love this long shot. Look at the speed they carry. It's all about momentum in an MX-5, and these guys are some of the best at it. Boyd late on the brakes. Hobson goes into the chicane first though, and he nails it perfectly. Wood in the background holds on. What's happened to Dyson? Don't forget they will need to stop for fuel. At one point Dyson's decided to roll the dice, and he goes in early on lap 3 to take his fuel stop. A few other drivers going with him. Oliver, McMahon and Moroz all in the pit lane now to take fuel. Play that strategy game. So Adam St. John saying about 10 cars unable to grid for the start. That's a real shame. Is that an iRacing issue or something else? It's not good at all. Sadly, that's probably missing some competitors tonight, and they're probably feeling pretty down. But jump in and join in on the chat. That's the best you can do right now to help us out. And support your mates racing. It's the fastest lap of the race. Goes to Glenn Boyd in 9th place. So he's just closed the gap down to Norman in front. It's 1 second. He's to try and get up onto the back of this chicken up racing car. He's in a busy battle with Wayne Losh, 7th and 8th place here. So we're looking back from Losh's car, and Glenn Boyd definitely getting closer. He's quick through the chicane there, and that's why he's got the fastest lap of the race. Carrying a lot of speed, carrying a lot of momentum. Hobson leads only by 0.3 over Jack Boyd. Long shot once again showing Jack Boyd right on the tail of Brenton Hobson. Hobson goes across the curb cam and fly through there. Then the long shot as they start to weave their way down the pit straight. It's Hobson by 0.3. The top 9 drivers still in contention here. Glenn Boyd is at the back of that pack. Then look at the gap back to Stassi. It's huge. It's 13 seconds. 9th back to 10th place is Ashley Norman, now goes quickest of anyone in the chicken up racing car. Well, he's sitting in 8th place all over the back of Losh, and that slipstream has helped him just punch the numbers out on that previous lap. Moves up into 8th, and importantly, fastest lap of the race. Might even get past Losh here, who just swipes the barrier. Gets a run around the outside now. That's a risky move because Losh came across. Now the double fake and he looks to the inside. Losh slams the door shut. Says you're not coming through there just yet. So some good hard racing here. 7th and 8th place, putting it all on the line. Meanwhile, Hobson out in front leads by just on a car length and a half. So we look back to Cuthbertson. He's leading Group C at the moment, as Adam St John gives a little bit of a shout out to him. And he's got a good gap too. He's way ahead of Rodkin, who I think is just stopped for fuel. So Jezza there saying, yep, nine drivers could not grid up for this race due to iRacing having a bit of a meltdown, so that's no good. We'll have to send them a big email saying please explain. So picking obviously one of them that's been sidelined for this last race. As we continue to watch Losh and Norman battle and into the pits, a straight line, flat out Wayne Losh into this pit lane entry. It's quite an exciting one. I remember getting in trouble a long time ago for overtaking someone around the outside in the braking zone, but then going to the pit lane, because you can just straight line it. You can use a lot of speed through there. Quite often when you're going to the pits, you can have your entry hindered by someone who's staying on the racing line. So it's good to communicate with the other drivers around you and just say, hey, this is what's going on, I'm coming into the pits, for example. Don't forget to head over to Taipan Events on YouTube. Give us a subscribe over there. Plenty of racing coming up in the next little while. Aaron Oliver staying in contention here as well. Currently sitting in 12th place, just chasing down the top Group B competitor, in fact. So Kyle Ridley's really got himself amongst the Group A's, but you can just see that straight line speed. Then no match, and he has to let that position go once again. The front is still Hobson and Boyd, 0.2 of a second in it. These guys have just been squabbling non-stop throughout all 3 races tonight. They'll be loving this, and we will be having a chat with them after the race. So if you've got any questions, start thinking about that now, and when we get them in for a bit of a conversation, fire away. But I think the topic's going to be how much fun was this around this racetrack, because they look like they're having fun. The cars are unsettled, which is a good thing that I love to see in sim racing when they can control them. But the back end's definitely doing a lot of sliding around. And Jack Boyd, well, can he get through? Again, let's jump on board with him. The 58 car, and that holds station, saves a bit of fuel as well. The top 8 are yet to fuel in this race. Everyone else has come in for a strategic stop. There is the pit strategy, which will update itself shortly, but from everyone from 8th down, with Losh stopping on the previous lap, still, well, everyone at the top still needs to stop. So battle for 15th place. In fact, it's 14th, the Group A driver. Getting really hustled here by Jamie Willits on debut, so he's doing a nice job joining the series. Runs the number 80 on the car, and straight line speed, nothing to match for what the Group A car has, but gee whiz, he closes up throughout the corners, so he's showing good driving skills here. May get himself elevated up sooner than later into the top class, but he's definitely carrying a lot of speed through the corners. Good to see Graham Ellis did get back out on the track. He's, I think, a lap or 2 down, but nice job to continue on and not just give it all away with that blown engine earlier in the race. So still Hobson out in front, looking at Kanchan now, starting to make his move, trying to get past Dean. Let's jump on board with him for the exit out of the chicane. He's got Nick Wood in 3rd, and then Dean just in front. Needs to try and pick them off quickly, because the one difference between this race and the first 2 heats we've had tonight is that the top 5, in fact the top 6 or 7, have been able to stay in touch with the leaders, unlike the heat races where Hobson and Boyd disappeared off into the distance and won 1 each. This feature race tonight, well, it's all stayed pretty even pickings at the front, as Hobbo now goes into the pits. So Jack Boyd stays out, Hobbo goes in, Canchin also goes in, and Michael Schreier as well will go into the lane for his fuel stop. So 3 and 3. 3 stayed out, 3 went in. Jack Boyd stayed out, and he's going to do an extra lap at the halfway point of this race. Now, does that mean that Hobbo's a little bit short on fuel and he'll need to save for the second half of the race, because he's had to go in a lap earlier than Jack Boyd, who has been sitting in the tow, saving a little bit of fuel behind him. So this could be a masterstroke here from Jack Boyd. He can put that little bit of extra fuel in at the end of this lap, and he can push 100% to the end of the race. Boyd leads, then Glenn Boyd sits currently in 5th place, up 6 spots in this feature race is Glenn. So the Boyd Racing drivers both 2 in the top 5. He's got Hobson just behind him, about 18 seconds back up the road. The Hobbo has now stopped. He put in 11.1 seconds worth of fuel, Hobbo. Canchin only went 10.28. So Hobbo put about an extra second's worth of stationary fuel in the car. Well, we'll find out a bit later what the story is with that. You can see Sonny's got himself closer, and well, considering Hobbo should be somewhere around Boyd when they've all had their final pit stop, which Jack Boyd is in the pits now. This could be a 3-horse race again now with Canchin also getting involved. So Jack Boyd in the pits. Let's keep an eye on this and see where he's going to come out against Hobson. So there they are, trundling down the pit lane. It's Boyd, Wood, Dean, Norman, and Glenn Boyd as well. Here comes Hobbo in the background, so that's the distance. Has he got the undercut happening here? So we'll keep an eye. Just coming down now. Boyd's still putting fuel in the car, and 5 seconds into fueling. I reckon he might be in a bit of trouble here. So there's Boyd. He gets underway. Where's Hobbo? He goes through. It's going to be neck and neck through turn 1, and we jump on board with Hobbo and Jack Boyd. Where is he? He's just up the road. And just up the road by about 2 car lengths. So nothing in it at all between these two, and that's also brought Sonny Canchin back into play. The top 3 separated by 2.2 seconds, but Jack Boyd only just got out in front then by the skin of his teeth, and almost a great undercut by Hobbo. Now the question is, has Hobbo got enough fuel to get to the end of the race? Because Boyd took 11.3 seconds worth of fuel, stopped a lap later than Hobson, who took 11.1 seconds worth of fuel. Top of Group B, still Kyle Ridley leads that one. We'll go there shortly. He's ahead of Jamie Willits by a fair margin at this stage, about 6 or 7 seconds, I think it is. There it is. He's battling, in fact, with Stassi, and you've got Kyle Ridley behind. So Stassi, the bottom of the Group A drivers, battling with the top of the Group B. And then it's still Cuthbertson leading Group C. And the gap back to his closest competitor is a whopping 18 seconds. So Ann Cuthbertson tonight should easily bring that home ahead of Bard Rodkin, who's sitting in 28th place, ahead of Mark Foster and Darren Linus. So quite a big gap between those drivers. You can see the Twitch channel on the side there of Bard's car. So if you've got another window open, you want to go look up a Twitch account, let's try and zoom in on this one. There it is. So Bard050 is his Twitch account there, and we know a fair few of the drivers use Twitch now. Hobbo, of course, has been on there a long time and puts up some fantastic videos and racing videos across his channel. Definitely worth going to check out Hobbo88 when you get a chance. And the number 88 right now starts to hone in onto the back of Jack Boyd once again. Lap 9 of 14, so it's starting to tick down, and it's time to get moving if he wants to get himself top points in tonight's racing event. This stage, as he takes a lot of grass through there. It must be right on the edge of a corner cut, but it's quick. Boyd by 0.3 of a second. Sanchin hasn't got an answer. It's still 2.1 back to him. Then you've got Nick Wood, who's in 4th place with Losh in tow. Dyson's up 7 spots now into the top 6, and Ashley Norman up 3 spots into the top 7. Good job. I want to give a shout out to a few competitors tonight, one being Aaron Oliver. He's up 6 spots into the top 10 now for the Penrite Racing car, and he's got Damien for company, also Glenn Boyd back in 12th just behind him. And then Steve McMahon has made up 1 spot in the race. And how about this guy, Matty Van Egman? He's made up 8 spots tonight into the top 18 for the Group B competitors. So fantastic drive, and head down, continue to push, because it's not too far up the road to find Dylan Canto at this stage as well. So as we get into the second half of this race, Hobbo about to make his move down the inside. Can he get there? Can he make it stick? He looks at it and he gets ahead of Boydie. So Hobbo 88 goes into the lead of this race with the Synergy Sim Racing Mazda MX-5 for the first time in the feature. And what can Boyd do? Will he fight this back? What about Canchin? The gap's down to 1.5 seconds now. So Sonny has realised that this is the opportunity. While these two squabble out in front, trying to get a wriggle on here, because it might be better than third. It's on offering tonight. If these two take each other out for some reason, could be a win. You see Hobbo and Boyd. There's Canchin, a big gap then to Dyson. It's about 3.8 seconds back to Dyson, so a huge margin. There he is in the distance with Nick Wood, Losh and Norman in tow. Schreier's there as well, trying to get up high that 8th position. Willits goes through to start another lap. Still Kyle Ridley leading Group B by a huge margin, but looking at the drop-off as well, it's 37 seconds back from the leader to the leader of Group B, so it's quite a big field spread. They are about 5 or so seconds a lap slower, these cars, so it's to be expected. 10 laps, 5 seconds, do the math, pretty spot on. So Hobson coming into a bit of lap traffic now. He's got Rodkin just up the road, and then Thorne, who's quite a way further up the road. So it should just be Rodkin that they've got to deal with here. And I'd say he's a pretty wily competitor, and he'll get out of the way shortly as well. Hobson goes through the hairpin. Now he starts to push his way past the back marker, and Jack Boyd goes with him. Tries to get a bit of a tow. Canchin's got the gap down to 1.1 now, so he continues to get it closer and closer. Should be jumping over and get a bit of slipstream, I reckon, off that lap car. But he's watching all the while these two in front. Once again, neck and neck into the chicane they go. And who's going to come out on top? Well, it's Jack Boyd. So Boydie goes through. Have a listen. So Jack Boyd leads lap 11 of 14 now against Hobson. And Canchin just knocking on the door of a 1 second gap now to second. Going through the classes once again, it's Kyle Ridley still leads, but a couple of drivers in Group B. I said Matt Eggman before, he's made up a stack of spots. He's up 6 into 20th for the Grindtech flooring racing car. He's got Fenson just behind him. And if we go back to Group C, Hard Rodkin, he's made up 3 spots. And John Thorne as well, good drive tonight, up 3 spots into 27th outright. And any gain is a good gain, so well done the 690 as he continues to push forward. Ridley and Willits are both in the pits now, so Dylan Canto, who stopped on lap 9, this will be interesting to see how close he can get to these drivers that have come in for their late splash and dash. So Ridley and Willits getting a good old 11 laps or so out of a tank of fuel, so nice effort in the Group B competitors. I'm sure the fuel rate is a little bit different for each of these Cup cars tonight, that's for sure. Hobbo on the absolute limit of brakes there into the hairpin. Canchin now has got them. He's right on the back now of Hobson, so the top 3 are covered by 7/10 of a second. Sonny Canchin has been chipping away. The last lap for him was a 54.9, and that's versus a 55.3 and a 55.6 for the leaders. So he chipped away about 7/10 out of Hobson on the previous lap, and he's about to it's probably about to be even more. as they're going to go neck and neck, these two, into chicane, cross to the wall of champions, and Kanchan hot on their tail. He's going to go with them. So Hobson leads into lap 12 now, 3 to go. So as we enter lap 12, 3 to go, 0.3 of a second covering the top 2, 0.6 covers the top 3. Andrew Dyson's moved his way up into 4th now as well, so good job in the Simworx racing car. Got himself ahead of Nick Wood and Losh, and then it's a fair way back to Ashley Norman and Michael Schreier. Mitch Dean and Oliver still rounds out your top 10. This is quite a queue of cars in the mid-pack here for the Group A drivers. So if you look at Norman, Schreier, Dean, Oliver, Seeger, Boyd's on the back of there as well. They've all stalled out and they just can't get past each other. They've, I guess, come up against their match as the lap car, I think, of Thorne just gets out of the way nicely and lets those drivers through. So John Thorne doing a nice job there, obeying the blue flags and getting out of the way, so well done. Hobbo out in front, Jack Boyd, Big Two and Kanchan. His top 3, I reckon Sonny looks like he's about to make a move here. He looks to the inside of Boyd and he's half committed there. Now he does get on the inside. So, wowee, it's Kanchan up into 2nd. Boyd gets relegated back to 3rd. We'll get a slipstream though, and he might get a little bit of help from Hobbo, who's staying on the left-hand side of the track. Now this is helping out Jack Boyd, because Boyd can stay in touch as he goes wheels to wheel with Sonny Kanchan. This is great. Let's jump on board with Sonny. And, well, where is he? He's there somewhere. I can hear him. He's right beside him. So Jack Boyd tries to go the long way around the outside. Sonny sends it in. And they both get through the wall of championships unscathed. Wall of champions unscathed there. And Hobson, with that little jewel in behind, just edges out by half a second as Anne Cuthbertson gets out of the way there, lapped on lap 13. 2 to go. It's Boyd still P2. But contact there, that's as close as you want to get. Kanchan into the back of Boyd. And the panels bend, they pop back out again. We're all good to keep racing. I love that about the MX-5s. In a lot of categories, that would just spin the car off in a circle, but they seem to get away with it in these MX-5s. They're a friendly little race car. Good battle between Schreier here. Seeger's there as well, but Schreier and Boyd, these guys racing over this 11th place, and they'd love to get in the top 10. So they're probably eyeing off Damien Seeger as well. He's just up the road. But definitely these two. I've just been watching the telemetry on the other screen. Just light up in red as Schreier once again is under attack here from Glenn Boyd, who moves himself back up into 11th place. Neither driver can sneak into the top 12 at the moment, but gee, they're having a good fight, these two, Boyd and Schreier. It's going to come down to the last lap for them. Justice is going to come down to the last lap, I hope, for the top 3 down this back straightaway for the penultimate time. It's Hobson, Boyd and Kanchan, 0.6 of a second covering the top 3. Further 6 seconds back then to P4 Andrew Dyson. So has been the dominance of the top 3 tonight. So into the chicane, Boyd goes back into the lead. We've seen this already tonight. Kanchan and Hobbo battle over second. Kanchan was a little bit slow. I think he may have even clipped the wall there. But he's lost about 4 or 5 car lengths. Now this has also given Jack Boyd, as the white flag drops, a really, really good strong advantage into the last lap of this race. You can see the gap's about 10 car lengths over Brenton Hobson. So Brenton's going to have his work cut out trying to catch Boydie from here, and Kanchan, not sure exactly what happened at the chicane there, but that's cost him probably a chance at a second or first tonight. So final lap of the race, Boyd leads 1.1 seconds. I reckon that's pretty much done and dusted. We go back here to Oliver, Dean and Seeger. This is the battle for 8th place. And you've got 3 of them in this battle, plus 3 behind, ready to pick up the pieces if anything goes wrong. The Penrite racing car, Aaron Oliver, currently 8th, up 8 positions. The top of class is still Ridley back in 16th place, having a lonely old race. And Anth Cuthbertson holds onto the top Class C driving, and he should be able to bring that home, because it's about 15 seconds or so, even further, in fact 21 seconds back to the next Class C competitor. So that's the definition of home and hose, folks, as long as you can bring it to the line. The lap car's getting out of the way nicely as Boyd goes into the hairpin for the final time tonight. Bit of understeer, bit of push as he came out of the corner, but he's got himself a 1.4 second buffer down the back straightaway. I don't think Hobson can send it from there. I think this is the trophy going to the cabinet for Jack Boyd tonight. It's been good racing. He got one apiece between himself and Hobson in the heat races, but this will seal the deal as far as a round win, that's for sure, for Jack Boyd and the Boyd racing car, coming into the final chicane, right up on the curbs, out to the fence, and he'll get the checker flag as he crosses the line to take a fantastic win in the feature race tonight. Coming in at second, it's Hobson, with Kanchan getting third. Dyson gets to the line ahead of Nick Wood, who gets fifth, and then it's Losh and Norman, your top six. Norman gets seventh ahead of Oliver. Mitch Dean gets ninth ahead of Seeger. Nice and close there. Glenn Boyd sneaks home in 11th place with Michael Schreier 12th. McMahon's going to get 13th place as he comes down the final back straightaway now, and he'll take 13th place ahead of Moz Moroz. So not a bad effort for him. Up one spot, Steve McMahon, as he now crosses the line, and Moroz, he dropped 8 positions in the feature, so won't be too happy, no doubt, with that. But he will cross the line now to get himself a well-deserved 14th place. Stassi gets 15th. Top of class now, we go all the way back to Kyle Ridley, still finishing. He's only just going around the hairpin. The others are already back in the shower. And the Class B competitor, he's coming across the back straightaway now to take a pretty good win. It's 3.7 seconds back to Dylan Canto. So Dylan Canto's been able just to sneak a bit of time back on him in this last stage of the race. But that's a good drive by Kyle tonight. Looked a bit easy out there for the Group B. He just had to point in the right direction and cruise around, get himself an easy top points for Group B, but also outright 16th place, a decent effort. Back in Group C, the battle, well, no real battle to talk about. It's Ant Cuthbertson, who, is he going slow there? Is he okay? He looks like he's going slow. He may just be letting the leaders through there, even though they're finished though. Oh, he's out of fuel. And that's devastating. Or has he been caught? No, he's been classified. So there you go. All classified, and that means that he didn't have to do that extra lap after all. We'll get the results up on the screen shortly, and then we'll get some interviews with the top competitors tonight, and we'll wrap it up here on Race Stars TV for what has been round number 4 of the Roadster Rumble. Overall race results tonight. It is Jack Boyd with the win, 1.6 seconds over Hobson and Kanchan, your top 3. And then it goes back to Ridley, Canto and Fenson for Class B, and Cuthbertson, Rodkin and Linus get the top 3 in Class C. We're just waiting now on Jack Boyd to join us, and as soon as Boyd's in the house, we'll have a chat to Brenton Hobson as well. And some really good racing tonight. We'll jump across straight away and talk to Brenton while we're waiting for Jack. But man, good racing tonight. You got yourself a win in the heat race, but just in that last feature race, just couldn't nail him.
Standard, isn't it? Standard procedure with Jack. He beats me no matter what. Although you're right, I did get a heat race win tonight, so I'll take that straight to the bank.
Well, the heat race win was incredible, man. Around the outside at the Wall of Champions, so that was nice to watch.
Yeah, that one was fully committed, and I was lucky that he decided to just sort of give me a break down there, because that would have been a crash had he have stayed in it. So that's a good thing with racing with Jack, is that it's just high respect all the time, and we always give each other racing room. We know each other pretty well, and some of the racing we get to do with each other is fantastic. It's top tier, and that's really the reason why I keep coming back to this stuff, because anytime I get to race him at the front, it's just a good time.
Yeah, it was good watching. He did wake up to that move. You could see him the second time you tried it. He was well aware.
Oh yeah, didn't fall for that one twice. Yeah, no, that was pretty much the same thing by me down into there that second time. I didn't really do much different, but the difference was that he didn't let out of it earlier. So you see the result. You know, in the end, he got up there because you can't really go side by side through that chicane. Someone's going to get balked up every time. Just depends who it is.
That's it, man. It's a great series, isn't it? These cars, they dance around. There's a lot of movement. Do you enjoy driving them? Because they seem like a real driver's driving car.
They are a driver's car. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I like it. I mean, I don't get to drive these things or these sort of things all that much anymore, but this is where like our roots are, most of us in sim racing, with iRacing in particular. I didn't have these cars when I started. I had the old Mazdas, and they were a heap of fun, and these ones are much the same. You know, they reward good racecraft, that, you know, and driving them with momentum, and you know, you can learn a lot about how to drive other cars by driving these sorts of cars. I'm a big advocate for things like stock cars on road courses for the same thing, and they're just good fun, and the draft keeps them all tightly packed, which, you know, love it or loathe it. That you can take that either way, but it does mean that the racing is usually quite close, and, you know, as long as you can get some respect on the track between the drivers, the racing that these things are put on is just exceptional.
Fantastic, man. I don't think Jack and Sonny are coming, so I'll let you do some thank yous for your sponsors, and we'll move on to the smaller classes.
Yeah, no worries. Well, yeah, thanks to those guys for some good racing again tonight at the front, and thanks to my teammate Michael, who come and had a run again tonight, and the team, SSR, DGD Customs, Wave Runner Performance Centre, Smith & Sons, and all the other sponsors that make the wheels go round, and also to Greg and the guys that put the series on. It's not easy to run a series, and you know, it's a big effort for those guys, and of course to you for jumping in and putting on the broadcast. I hope you're feeling all right, mate. Getting there.
I'm still very croaky, as you can tell. Thanks, Brenton, man. Great job tonight. It's great, always great watching you race, man, but well done with P2 in the feature, but a great win in the heat as well.
Our pleasure. See you guys later.
Thanks, mate. We'll go across now to the winner for Group B. Kyle, congratulations, man. Well, it looked a little bit lonely out there, to be honest. You there, Kyle? Hopefully Kyle can hear me. Are you there, Ant?
Yeah, mate, I got you.
We might flick across to you while Kyle sorts his issues out. So, well done with a win there in Group C tonight. And same thing, was a little bit, I guess you were racing for position, outright position, but class positions were a little bit far-fetched.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Yeah, it was a shame that the other guys couldn't grid up. Not sure what happened there. It was a little bit lonely out there, but no, it was a good run. 0 incidents, which is always good, so...
That is good, and that's not easy to do in a car like this, around a track like this as well, where it's easy just to get a bit sideways and get on the grass.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of they've tightened up on the off tracks on this one, so yeah, no, it was a good run.
Good job, man. Well, winner of Group C. Congratulations. Who would you like to thank?
Thanks to my team, Stone Cold Racing, and our supporters in Racecraft Simulations, the Walbundry Hotel, my teammate Ambo down there at the pub, jump and call in and grab a beer with him.
Excellent. No one else?
No, that's it, mate.
Great job, man. Well done, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, man. See ya.
Kyle, have we got you yet?
Yes, you do have me now.
Excellent. All right, well done, man. Group B win tonight. As I said just a little bit earlier, it looked a bit lonely out there for you tonight.
Yeah, it was a little bit lonely tonight. My main rival, Andrew Dutch, had a bad shocker of a quali and kind of just left me up front today. But happy to bring home the 3 wins. Got 0 incidents myself on that final race and just managed it from the lead. It was really nice. Yeah,
every time I crossed you, and I generally go to where there's battles, and every time I crossed you just to check on how you're going, it looked really smooth and in control. So you're maintaining a huge gap to the cars behind you, but, you know, as I said, you weren't ragged. You're just looking very comfortable out there.
Well, yeah, I had the approach of win at the slowest speed possible today. The way these balls, they can bite you, so just wanted to bring home the car. Great job, man, and the car looked great, and you look great out there for a nice win in Group B and a triple win as well. So well done. Who would you like to thank? Just the sponsors of tonight's race, 24/7 Sim Service for the race control today. Always do a good banged up job. And yourself for the broadcast, as always.
Thanks, Kyle. We'll see you next week, man, and congratulations again on the win.
Thanks. See ya.
Excellent. Right, that's your top 3 from class, and we're going to pretty much wrap it up there tonight. So the Roadster Rumble round number 4 is run and done. Thanks for everyone that tuned in. Big thanks to Keith as well. Says great, clean racing, great to watch. Great to have you, Keith, and thank you for the stars. Also, Graham Ellis for the stars. In his own words, had a shocker tonight, Graham. He'll bounce back, but tough luck when it doesn't go your way. Sometimes it can be a real tough night at the racetrack. So a couple of competitors finding that out tonight, and hard luck to the drivers that couldn't get into the server for the feature race too. It must be an issue with iRacing tonight, but 9 competitors unfortunately couldn't get in, so they'll be back next week, don't you worry. Just as Graham says, next week he'll be right, he'll come back. But Jack Boy, too strong tonight. We didn't hear from him, but what a great drive, and it's good to hear the respect too that Brenton has running up against him, and going neck and neck, and they can trust each other, they can lean on each other a bit as well, and just know that at the end of the day they're both going to finish pointing in the right direction. So good racing. Big thanks to tonight's round sponsor as well, and make sure you support the round sponsors tonight. It was 24/7 sim services, so a big thanks to them. And of course, go across to Taipan Events on YouTube as well and subscribe to that channel, as we'll be doing all our YouTube broadcast connections, simulcasting across to that YouTube channel from now on in. So big thanks for tuning in. Until next time, I'm Luke. This is Race Stars TV. Good night.